Avi Meyers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. On the web, check us out at ntnm.org, where you'll find all interviews over the last 10 years. And community policing, we're all big on that, www.caps24.org. Even though we'll have to talk about, we should talk about community policing and not about CAPS, but that's another story. Sonny Hirsch, in his spare time, is chairman of the District Advisory Committee of the 24th District. And by the way, on YouTube, there's over 1/3 shows watched. Thank you very much. It is, you know, I get a lot of my guests from Facebook. And you never know who you're going to meet and how you're going to meet them. And my next guest I got through Trent Huddleston, who I don't think I've ever met either. So I got him from somebody else on Facebook. And that is somebody who's I'll let her give you the title because I'm not going to get it right now. And she's into victims, victims' rights and all the rest of it. Denise Rotheimer, how are you?
Doing well, thank you, Avi.
Good. What is your title exactly, and what were you affiliated with?
I'm the founder of Mothers on a Mission to Stop Violence and also the author of Jasmines Law and the Victim Rights Sign-Off Sheet.
So tell us what you're trying to accomplish.
Now I'm working to pass a third piece of legislation that I've authored.
So you passed 2 already, I take it.
Both laws have previously passed unanimously in Springfield, so these are state laws. The third bill that I authored is to provide crime victims with legal representation to enforce their rights at no cost. And the funding would be provided through the Crime Victim Compensation Fund. So it's already an existing fund. None of my laws have required a fiscal note, so there's been no additional cost to taxpayers, and neither would this current bill. But now that the bill is not going to succeed in Springfield due to the politics, I'm looking to take it to Congress this year.
Well, yeah, nothing's going to succeed in Springfield this year.
Not easy. It took me 10 years to pass the crime victim sign-off sheet.
Yeah.
And it took me 5 years to pass Jasmines Law. So I'm going into my 3rd year on this bill.
So you're a patient person.
Very patient.
But, you know, the race goes to the tortoise and not the hare more often than not.
Yeah, that's because I don't really take a rest.
Yeah. How many children do you have, by the way?
I have one daughter, Jasmine. That's
Yeah.
for whom the law is named. And Jasmine's Law makes alcohol in the state of Illinois an aggravating factor by including it as an intoxicant. Previous to Jasmine's Law, alcohol was specifically excluded as an intoxicant. So when perpetrators would render our children incapacitated through the use of alcohol to commit an act of sexual violence, there was no additional penalty except for contributing to the delinquency of a minor. I found that to be offensive, and I work to ensure that Jasmine's Law applies on all 5 sex felony offenses in case there are plea deals that are made so that the judge has discretion to double the sentencing.
Yeah, no, that's, I mean, I don't know how anybody would think that alcohol couldn't do that kind of thing. I know that, you know, when kids are babies and they're teething and they're in tremendous pain, it's like, I've seen, you know, like the moms in my family, you know, just take a little drop of wine or liqueur, you know, on their finger and rub the gums, and it relaxes the kid like there's no tomorrow. I've seen at times when a kid gets his first glass of wine on a Friday night, which is a tradition Jewish-wise, not to get skunked, but, you know, when you've never had it in your life, it's like, wow.
Well, you have to realize the perpetrators I'm referring to are master manipulators of children. So they're using the alcohol as a weapon. So instead of a knife or a gun or an illegal substance like, let's say, a drug of some sort, to avoid the prosecution because they know what the laws are.
Oh, interesting.
And so these are tactics that are used by perpetrators who have the intent to commit acts of sexual violence against children.
And a lot of kids would think it'd be very cool. I get a chance to have a drink or something,
Well,
without realizing the ramifications of what
again,
might
it goes
be
to
happening.
the betrayal of trust. So children often, when, more than 90% of the children under 12 and under know the assailant. So child molesters, they're opportunists. They betray trust. So basically, the child has no idea, just like in the case you gave as an example, where you get a glass of wine. This is by a family member giving this to you so you feel safe. And that's unfortunately, in that situation, happens to many of those who become crime victims. But different because in your situation, the alcohol is not being provided to commit acts of sexual violence.
No, and not only that, it's together with food. And generally speaking, in my family, they pretty much make sure that if it's a kid, they're getting like the super low alcohol wine.
Right, but a
rapist
is going to make sure that the child becomes incapacitated.
Which isn't hard at all.
Exactly. So there's a difference. However, it's that betrayal of trust that is used as the tool. And these child molesters and rapists, they are master manipulators of children.
Yeah. Now, in terms of the crime compensation accounts, you bring it's good that you're doing it from that, because not all this stuff really goes where it belongs. Some of it is being used for some of the most ridiculous purposes on earth. Considering where it comes from, it should be used, for the same purpose, to prevent these kind of things. And you sound like you fit exactly in that model.
Well, I'm not funded. I fund my work out of pocket. There is funding available to certain agencies or advocates who want to do the work with crime victims, but I do everything out of my pocket. The Crime Victim Compensation Fund is specifically for crime victims who report the criminal offense to law enforcement, so there's a requirement. And these are the individuals whom I only work with. I only work with crime victims who file the report with law enforcement. The funding provides reimbursement for out-of-pocket expenses. So if there's a murder, funeral costs can be reimbursed up to $7,500.
Wow.
If the individual who was murdered, had a child and used the grandmother, grandfather, raised that child, you can get $1,250 a month. So there's a $27,000 cap. The state does fund the compensation fund with general revenues, which is taxpayer dollars, but it's matched by the federal government under the Victim of Crimes Act by 60%. So right now we have about $10 million, and that's for the entire state of Illinois, for all victims of violent crime. And there was $11.2 million that went unspent and expired. So crime victims are not getting information. And the reason why I want to provide legal representation to crime victims is because advocates have no role in the legal system. So we are paying out millions of dollars to advocates, the rape advocates, domestic violence advocates, when all they can really do is fill out paperwork and provide emotional assistance.
Yeah, we're running out of time here. So first of all, are you looking for people to help you if they can? I'm not talking about money-wise, but...
Well, the help and the support would be that once we are able to get a bill in Congress, then people can call their members of Congress asking for them to vote in favor of the bill.
Okay,
and help
and
us
if
get it
people would
passed.
like to contact you?
And if they would like to reach me directly, my number is 847-406-8566. I'm on Facebook and have a website, momsv.org.
We're out of time. Thank you, my entire technical crew, Sonny Hirsch. Thank you, Denise Rotheimer.
Thank you, Avi.
Good luck in your endeavors.
Absolutely.